The time has finally come. A royal romance fiction. Disclaimer. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental. The ornate doors of the Zarzuela Palace's blue salon swung open with a resonance that seemed to echo through centuries of Spanish royal history. Princess Leonor de Borbón y Ortiz stepped forward, her hands trembling almost imperceptibly as she approached the podium where international media representatives waited with bated breath. The announcement she was about to make would not only redefine her own destiny but send shockwaves through the corridors of power across European capitals and fundamentally alter the landscape of modern monarchy. The time has finally come, she began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of her words, to share with you the most important decision of my life. What followed would be remembered as one of the most extraordinary moments in contemporary royal history, a revelation that would unite two ancient kingdoms, challenge centuries of diplomatic protocol, and create a love story that captured the imagination of millions across the globe. The Princess of Asturias, heir to the Spanish throne, was about to announce her engagement to Prince Christian of Denmark, with a wedding planned for the following week in what would become the most closely watched royal ceremony of the 21st century. The secret romance that captivated Europe. The love story between Princess Leonor and Prince Christian had been unfolding in carefully guarded secrecy for over 2 years, hidden from the prying eyes of international media and conducted through a series of diplomatic encounters, private communications, and clandestine meetings that would make even the most experienced royal correspondents marvel at the discretion involved. What began as formal diplomatic interactions between two of Europe's most promising young royals had gradually evolved into something far more profound and personally transformative. Their first meaningful encounter occurred during the 2022 European Youth Summit in Brussels, where both royals were representing their respective nations in discussions about climate change and sustainable development. Witnesses later recalled the immediate connection that seemed to spark between the Spanish princess and Danish prince as they collaborated on environmental policy proposals. Their shared passion for progressive causes, combined with the unique understanding that comes from bearing the weight of royal responsibility, created an instant bond that transcended typical diplomatic courtesy. The relationship deepened during subsequent encounters at various European royal events and state functions. Palace insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that the young royals had developed an elaborate system of communication that allowed them to maintain regular contact while avoiding media detection. Their correspondence, conducted through encrypted diplomatic channels and trusted intermediaries, revealed a meeting of minds that went far beyond romantic attraction to encompass shared values, complementary skills, and mutual respect for the challenges facing contemporary monarchy. The turning point in their relationship reportedly occurred during a private meeting in Copenhagen in early 2023, arranged under the pretense of discussing educational cooperation between Spain and Denmark. During this visit, Prince Christian apparently proposed in the gardens of Fredensborg Palace, presenting Princess Leonor with a ring that combined Spanish sapphires and Danish diamonds in a design that symbolized the union of their two kingdoms. The princess's acceptance, witnessed only by Queen Margrethe II and King Felipe VI, who had been secretly coordinating the romance's development, marked the beginning of the most complex royal wedding preparations in recent memory. The diplomatic revolution. The announcement of Princess Leonor's engagement to Prince Christian represented more than a romantic union, it constituted a diplomatic revolution that would reshape relationships between European royal houses and potentially influence broader continental politics. The marriage would create the first direct union between Spanish and Danish royal lines since the medieval period, establishing connections that could strengthen Nordic-Iberian cooperation and create new possibilities for European integration. King Felipe VI and Queen Margrethe II had reportedly been discussing the strategic implications of such a union for months before giving their blessing to the relationship. Both monarchs recognized that the marriage could serve as a powerful symbol of European unity at a time when the continent faced various political and economic challenges requiring coordinated responses. The union would also position both Princess Leonor and Prince Christian as leading voices for their generation of European royals, potentially influencing how monarchy evolves in the 21st century. The engagement's announcement triggered immediate responses from royal houses across Europe, with messages of congratulation arriving from Buckingham Palace, the Swedish royal court, the Royal Palace of Norway, and numerous other European monarchies. The overwhelming positive response suggested that the union had been discussed and supported within royal circles well before the public announcement, indicating a level of coordination that demonstrated the continued relevance of royal diplomatic networks. Foreign ministries across Europe were reportedly caught off guard by the announcement's timing, leading to hasty consultations about protocol and precedents for the upcoming wedding ceremony. The Spanish and Danish governments were forced to coordinate their responses while managing the diplomatic implications of what would inevitably become a major European political event disguised as a romantic celebration. The engagement also prompted discussions about the future structure of European monarchy, with constitutional scholars noting that the union could create precedents for how royal marriages influence succession rights in international relationships. While neither princess nor prince would abandon their respective succession rights, their marriage would create unique opportunities for cooperation between Spain and Denmark that could serve as a model for other European royal partnerships. The week-long preparation marathon. The decision to hold the wedding just 1 week after the engagement announcement created logistical challenges that tested the limits of royal event planning capabilities. Palace staffs in both Madrid and Copenhagen were forced to coordinate the most complex international royal ceremony in decades while maintaining the secrecy and security required for such a high-profile event. The venue selection alone required extensive negotiations between Spanish and Danish royal households. The compromise solution, a ceremony split between both countries, with a civil service at the Royal Palace of Madrid followed by a religious celebration at Copenhagen's Christiansborg Palace, satisfied protocol requirements while honoring both royal traditions. This unprecedented arrangement required coordinating everything from security protocols to media access across two different legal systems and cultural contexts. Wedding planners, working under conditions of absolute secrecy, were tasked with creating ceremonies that would honor both Spanish and Danish royal traditions while accommodating the international guest list that would include representatives from royal houses across Europe, heads of state, and diplomatic officials from dozens of countries. The challenge was complicated by the need to balance traditional elements with modern sensibilities, creating events that would satisfy both conservative royal observers and contemporary audiences expecting progressive approaches to royal ceremony. The dress selection process alone captured international attention as details leaked about Princess Leonor's decision to wear two different gowns, one designed by a Spanish couturier for the Madrid ceremony and another created by a Danish designer for the Copenhagen celebration. Both dresses were reportedly created to incorporate symbolic elements representing the union of the two kingdoms while maintaining the elegance and dignity expected of royal wedding attire. Security preparations required coordination between Spanish and Danish intelligence services, with additional support from European Union security apparatus due to the international significance of the event. The challenge of protecting both ceremonies while allowing appropriate media access and public participation tested the limits of royal security protocols and required innovative approaches to crowd control and threat assessment. The guest list that made history. The guest list for Princess Leonor and Prince Christian's wedding represented a who's who of European royalty, international politics, and cultural leadership that hadn't been assembled for a single event since the coronation of King Charles III. The attendance of virtually every European royal house, combined with representatives from monarchies worldwide, created an unprecedented gathering that emphasized the union's significance for the institution of monarchy globally. The British royal family's attendance was particularly noteworthy, with King Charles III reportedly clearing his schedule to attend both ceremonies personally. His presence, along with other senior British royals, signaled strong support for the union and suggested potential for strengthened relationships between the British and Spanish royal houses that had been strained by various historical and political factors. Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway's attendance highlighted Nordic support for the union and reflected the close relationships that have developed between Scandinavian royal houses over recent decades. Their presence, along with representatives from the Swedish royal family, created a powerful display of Nordic unity that enhanced the political significance of Prince Christian's marriage. The attendance of President Emmanuel Macron of France and Chancellor Olaf Scholz of Germany reflected the wedding's importance for European Union politics and suggested that the union was viewed as significant for broader continental cooperation efforts. Their presence elevated the wedding from a royal ceremony to a European political event with implications extending far beyond monarchy. Perhaps most significantly, the guest list included representatives from younger generations of European royals who would potentially shape the future of monarchy in the coming decades. The gathering provided unprecedented opportunities for networking, relationship building, and strategic planning that could influence royal cooperation for years to come. Cultural and artistic leaders from across Europe were also invited, reflecting Princess Leonor and Prince Christian's shared commitment to supporting arts and culture as components of royal responsibility. Their attendance created opportunities to discuss how royal patronage could evolve to support creative endeavors that address contemporary social and political challenges. The ceremonies that redefined royal tradition. The Madrid ceremony, held in the throne room of the royal palace, combined traditional Spanish royal wedding elements with innovations that reflected Princess Leonor and Prince Christian's shared commitment to modernizing monarchy. The service, conducted in both Spanish and Danish with English translation for international guests, emphasized themes of unity, cooperation, and service that would define their partnership. King Felipe VI's role in presenting his daughter for marriage carried particular emotional weight, with observers noting the visible pride and concern that marked this transition in his daughter's life. His remarks during the ceremony, praising Prince Christian's character and expressing confidence in the couple's future together, provided insight into the personal relationships that had developed between the Spanish and Danish royal families throughout the courtship process. The exchange of vows, conducted in both Spanish and Danish, demonstrated the couple's commitment to honoring both cultural traditions in their marriage. Their personally written promises to each other emphasized shared dedication to public service, environmental protection, and European cooperation, providing insight into the values that would guide their partnership. The Copenhagen ceremony, held the following day, provided opportunities for Danish royal traditions to take precedence while maintaining the international character established in Madrid. Queen Margrethe II's blessing of the union, delivered with the authority of one of Europe's most respected monarchs, provided legitimacy and continuity that enhanced the marriage's significance for European royal circles. The religious elements of the Copenhagen ceremony, conducted according to Danish Lutheran tradition but modified to accommodate Princess Leonor's Catholic background, demonstrated the ecumenical approach that would characterize the couple's approach to faith and spirituality. The compromise solutions developed for these religious differences provided potential models for other interfaith royal marriages. The reception following the Copenhagen ceremony brought together guests from across Europe in celebrations that lasted well into the evening. The informal interactions between royals, political leaders, and cultural figures created opportunities for relationship building and strategic discussions that extended far beyond wedding festivities. The global media phenomenon. The announcement and subsequent wedding ceremonies created a global media phenomenon that exceeded even the most optimistic projections for public interest and engagement. International television networks provided extensive coverage of both ceremonies, with viewing figures that rivaled major sporting events and established new benchmarks for royal wedding audiences. Social media engagement reached unprecedented levels as users across the globe shared images, commentary, and analysis of every aspect of the wedding ceremonies. The couple's decision to allow limited social media access during certain portions of the ceremonies created authentic moments that resonated with younger audiences while maintaining the dignity expected of royal events. Fashion coverage of Princess Leonor's two wedding dresses generated international discussion about royal style and its influence on broader fashion trends. The decision to feature designers from both Spain and Denmark created positive publicity for both countries' fashion industries while demonstrating the couple's commitment to supporting European creativity and craftsmanship. The ceremonies, emphasis on environmental sustainability, including carbon-neutral transportation options for guests and eco-friendly decorations, generated positive coverage that positioned the couple as leaders in royal environmental responsibility. Their approach provided models that other royal houses could adopt for their own events and demonstrated monarchy's potential to influence public behavior regarding climate change. International media coverage also focused extensively on the political implications of the union, with analysis suggesting that the marriage could influence everything from European Union policy coordination to Nordic-Iberian trade relationships. The level of political discussion generated by a royal wedding surprised even experienced royal correspondents and demonstrated the continued relevance of monarchy for international relations. The future that begins now. As the celebrations concluded and the newly married couple departed for their honeymoon, the implications of their union began to unfold in ways that would influence European royal circles and international relations for decades to come. Their marriage represented not just a personal commitment but a strategic alliance that could reshape how monarchy functions in the modern world. The precedent established by their week-long engagement and wedding timeline demonstrated that royal ceremonies could be executed with unprecedented speed when circumstances required, potentially influencing how other royal houses approach major announcements and celebrations. The successful coordination between Spanish and Danish royal households provided models for international royal cooperation that could be applied to other projects and initiatives. Their shared commitment to environmental causes, European integration, and modernizing monarchy positioned them as potential leaders for their generation of European royals. The influence they could wield through their combined platforms could significantly impact public discourse about issues ranging from climate change to social justice to international cooperation. The marriage also created new possibilities for cultural exchange between Spain and Denmark that could strengthen relationships between the two nations and provide models for broader European cultural cooperation. Their patronage of arts, education, and environmental causes could create lasting partnerships that outlive their individual reigns. As Princess Leonor and Prince Christian began their married life, they carried with them the hopes and expectations of millions who saw their union as a symbol of Europe's continued capacity for unity, cooperation, and positive change. Their love story, conducted against the backdrop of contemporary political challenges and social transformation, provided inspiration for those who believed that traditional institutions could adapt and thrive in changing times. The time had indeed finally come, not just for their marriage, but for a new chapter in European royal history that promised to blend tradition with innovation, duty with passion, and national pride with international cooperation. Their union would be remembered as the moment when two young people in love became symbols of possibility for an entire continent seeking unity in an era of division. Note: this article is entirely fictional. Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark are real people, but any romantic relationship, engagement, or marriage described here is purely imaginary and created for entertainment purposes only. Asterisk.